Hi everyone, George here, and today what I thought about doing was a, um, a segment partially related to taxes, um, which I call the Pinocchio Awards. And as the Pinocchio Awards as they pertain to the current issues that are facing Canadians today, namely inflation, um, the vulnerability of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and is the government really raising our taxes on our salaries? So let's take inflation for starters and how the liberals and conservatives view them, and we'll give the greatest liar the most amount of Pinocchios. Here we have Pinocchios. That's the actual original picture of Pinocchio. So what we'll do is copy paste and award each lie or falsehood the most amount of Pinocchios. So the liberals will have you believe that they have our backs and they're investing in support programs and allow Canadians to thrive, and that's how they're tackling inflation. The truth be told, however, whenever you grant people free money, take for example I believe there's a $500 one-time payment for uh, the cost of rent. Well, that gives the incentive of the person that is providing the goods and services to raise the prices, knowing that you will get more money. They want a piece of the pie, so they knowingly know that you're going to get $500, so you can afford to pay a little bit more. So, in other words, that support measure that is supposed to, in fact, help us afford that particular service is counterproductive because, in the end, the person that has the means to provide you with the good or service will will also have the incentive to raise his price and take a portion of your payment. Well, the conservatives, on the other hand, are saying the major inflationary measure are the incentives plus the good old Canadian mint is printing money, or the government is printing money. Well, if you have a mint, what do you expect it to do? Swat flies? Of course, it's going to mint coin and paper and print money and increase the money supply somehow. Well, maybe I got that one wrong, but still, that's their main argument. The truth be told, however, inflation is a mixture of a lot of factors. However, what differentiates the inflation that we're having now compared to previous uh, inflationary periods is that we just came out of a pandemic. Our supply chains have been strained. There's a lot of money chasing too few goods. So there is a structural element and there is a greed element. And quite frankly, by raising interest rates and putting the burden on mortgage holders, uh, this isn't going to improve anytime soon. So, in terms of the Pinocchio Awards, we'll give a ratio of 2 to 1. Copy and paste. A ratio of 2 to 1, two for the Liberals and um, one for the Conservatives. Oops. Paste. There's two Pinocchios there and one there. All right. Now the next item up for grabs is investing in Bitcoin is a total would result in a total loss. And I believe what the liberals were saying was recommending Bitcoin and investments in Bitcoin was irresponsible for Mr. Polyev apparently to stipulate that, and people that took Mr. Polyev's advice lost everything. Now, if you allow me fair use to use a clip from the news, I'm not sure if everybody can listen to this, but let's put it on up loud and so we can hear what our good Prime Minister told everyone, told the nation. All right, let's play that clip.
Out of inflation by investing their savings in volatile cryptocurrency.
Anybody that followed that advice would have seen their life savings destroyed. Wow. Now, here's my position on that. First of all, I am not recommending investments in crypto or Bitcoin. Um, Anybody that does dabble in that, from my perspective, it's pure speculation. And you can lose your shirt investing in Bitcoin, but you can also lose your shirt investing in traditional investments like stock options or even common shares. Now, let's take a look at the truth. Well, Bitcoin at its highest peak was at $84,000, 84,107 Canadian dollars, or American is that? Canadian, in November 7th, 2021. As you can see now, it's at 26,677.27. Now, that is a substantial loss, but it's far from zero. Can it reach zero? Perhaps it could. It can also very well exceed it. We don't know what the future will hold for Bitcoin. Um, and again, I am not pro or against it, and this is by no means any means of investment advice. However, um, Mr. Trudeau just said, by the way, if you did that, you would have been shortless. Well, it's far from zero, Mr. Trudeau. The other thing that people forget is if you had your liabilities in Bitcoin, if you had a loan in Bitcoin and you continued earning Canadian dollars, you would have been ahead. You would have been ahead because now your whatever your loan was in denominated in Bitcoin would have been worth a fraction of what it's worth now, and you would have probably been able to pay it off. So you can make a profit just by predicting the right direction of Bitcoin. Again, this is not advice in any form or measure. Now, let's take a look at. We established that the liberals said, look, Mr. Polyev, completely irresponsible. Right. And conservative position, as far as I can recall, the only thing I've seen or heard Mr. Polyev say about Bitcoin was he speculated himself that people that hold Bitcoin would be millionaires. He was probably wrong, but that was not advice, number one. And number two, what he actually was saying was people should have the freedom to invest in Bitcoin if they so desired, which in fact was the case in Canada. Canada has not outlawed crypto, number one. Number two, we have a crypto friendly economy thanks to the present government, in fact. And um, investors can also, at the same time, invest in ETFs denominated in crypto coins or crypto ETFs, thanks to the regulatory environment in uh, in effect presently, and has not been prohibited by Mr. Trudeau. So in this case, I think that I'm quite excited about this. Um, let's give them three Pinocchios and paste and paste again. That's three Pinocchios, and we'll give we'll give. I can't give a half to the conservative, so I got to give him a one. So I summed up the truth more or less. Now the government is raising taxes everywhere, including on our salaries. Um, Guess what? At the time of recording, I just saw a clip saying that Mr. Trudeau and his government flip flopped on the increases in EI and CPP slash QPP. QPP, well, is a different matter because it's governed by the Quebec government. But it appears that they're not going to go ahead with payroll taxes. As a matter of fact, I deeply believe that at this juncture, they should be reducing taxes like most of the leading European economies have done abroad. As a precautionary measure, Um, and the reasons for that is twofold. And it's to make things more affordable for people. And two, uh, payroll taxes need to be simplified across the board uh, and retrofitted to some prior rules that we had back in the day where anybody could do their own payroll. I think that is paramount and important in fostering the ability for somebody to start their own business and hiring people. First and foremost, perhaps they don't need an accountant to figure out their own payroll taxes. That's a thought. And we need entrepreneurs and we need people hiring people and good employers throughout Canada. That's a need that uh, should be inelastic. So fostering a good payroll system and tooling our present payroll system to simplify it across the board in order to foster entrepreneurship and more hires would be a big plus. Now, unfortunately, based on the feedback that I'm getting from the Liberals, I call them clueless. Um, Clueless because I didn't I didn't hear a cogent explanation as to what they're doing. So we'll give them one ordinary Pinocchio there. Now, the conservatives, what they tend to do, on the other hand, is they lump payroll taxes, whether it's deductions at source, EI, QPP, and CPP, all together. As far as they're concerned, they don't care that EI and I believe CPP are partially funded by employees, and they serve to give us a mediocre social safety net when we retire or when we lose our jobs. And the payout is nothing to brag about. So to call them a tax and to not distinguish them from deductions at source is a bit of a lie as well. So let's do a little paste here as well. There you go. So the Liberals win on the Pinocchio contest versus the Conservatives by a long shot. I'm not even going to touch the other political parties that we have in Ottawa and in Parliament. Um, because quite frankly, I can only deal with so many Pinocchios. So that's my little rant for today, the 29th of September 2022. In Quebec, we're going into elections on the weekend. I wish everybody votes. Practice your democratic obligation and make sure that you get involved in politics because if you don't get involved in politics, politics will come to you. Take care and have a good one. Bye for now.